Alrighty, so I meant to do this much sooner than literally about 6 hours before the character comes out. My bad. But life gets in the way. And on the bright side, we've got um, context from both the patch notes and versus fighting, for the character. So we can do less speculation and more, planning for what to come for what's to come with the character. The one thing I will say is that I've got two things. One of them makes sense. The other one doesn't make sense at all. That I'm genuinely disappointed about. And then I've got one thing that I'm worried about. Not for me playing, because I'm gonna be playing the character, but more for just fighting against him and the balance of the game. But we'll get to those when we get to those. So let's start with the guide. So the first thing that is interesting to note is Ensenga. So this is Ensenga, like we said. It is not an overhead. People were speculating maybe it's an overhead. It's not. That's fine. That's good. He already has an overhead, which is, Air Mist Finer, like TK Air Mist Finer. That's always been his overhead, so he did not need Ensenga to be an overhead. I guess, and granted, plus R Ensenga was his overhead. But having Air Mist Finer is much cooler than not having Air Mist Finer. So Ensenga not being an overhead makes sense. Again, this does still beg the question of what do we do with this move. They will show us later what they want us to do with this move, and it does make some amount of sense. But I think this is still probably going to be his the outlier of his kit. I'm not saying you shouldn't use it, and I'm not saying you shouldn't have it. Just more that it might take more time to figure out how we're going to use this move, and it might be a little more niche. But like I said, we'll get to that when we get to it. So, excuse me. The other thing that they're about to show us is 6P. So, both 6P and throw do not give him combos in this game. You'll see the throw later. And that's kind of a big deal because 6P and throw comboing for Johnny has always been a big deal. It's always been a part of his game plan. It's always been same thing with 6K. Obviously, 6K doesn't provide the same. You will see later that you can special cancel it, which is new. It's new to this season. Basically everyone with the 6K can special cancel it now. But it doesn't give the same combo that it would in the other games. But definitely the throw and definitely 6P don't give meterless combo in this game. You might be able to get card Okizeme, which is fine. Throws usually give you Okizeme anyways. But this is a big change from. You got to change up his gameplay maybe a little bit. Maybe less of a strike throw character. Well, he's still gonna be strike throw, obviously, because throws in this game are strong, especially because he can set up card, which is his win condition. But it's not going to be nearly as powerful because you can't just get a full combo off of it anymore. Which is, I think for the balancing of this game, that's fine because, comboable throws and comboable 6Ps would be, are a little bit problematic. What was it? Nago has a comboable 6P, and what's his name? Zato has a comboable throw. And they're both very powerful options. And the scaling is, especially off the throw, is a little bit kind of large, but still giving that as an option to every character, especially his character as powerful as Johnny, would probably not be the greatest idea. So in all, you can still use meter off of it. You can still get card Oki. It's a change that we all expected, but still kind of big hit to his game plan. The next thing is right there is that card, once it gets hit by Mistfinder, guard crushes. And this is going to make his already stupidly good pressure, which is part of what he's known for, even better. This is kind of like a replacement for being in level 3 and doing miscancels all the time in order to get, stupid amounts of plus frames. And this, here, he just guard crushes with card. I'm going to talk more about this later when it comes up again, but this is the thing that I see as possibly becoming a problem with this character and being extremely annoying to fight against. and leading to people despising this character. We'll see, obviously, once it plays out, but there is a chance that this is not going to go over super well, because on paper, this is a super strong option. But again, we'll get to it. Yeah, so the first thing that shows is Mistfinder. Mistfinder, both P and K are mids, and S is a low, like it is in the other games. The one thing that I do want to mention, once they get to a place where I can easily pause it, is the slash. The slash is different in this game. In the other games, it was thicker, I guess is the way you could say. Like, it was wider, and it looks more like a sword strike. And much like Chemical Love in this game, but also in the other games, it's just a big hitbox out on the screen. It doesn't have any hurtbox, especially except for where Johnny starts, and it's just a big hitbox that fills the screen, which is part of what makes it so powerful. And I assume that it's going to work relatively the same way in this game that it does, in that game, where it's just a big hitbox, but it doesn't seem to be nearly as large, like I said, because it's not as wide. And also how it's going to interact with burst is going to be interesting. Now, I know they changed burst because burst is full screen now, but in the previous games, it was very hard to burst him, especially in Exer. It was very hard to burst him because he would do Mistfinder and you would try and burst the Mistfinder, but because it's just a big ass hitbox, it wouldn't matter because there was no hurt box to burst. But now that burst is full screen, it might not be that much big of a deal, especially if this is just a big hitbox. But we'll see. We'll see how canceling works, and we'll see how easy it is to bait the new burst, because you can still bait and block the new burst. It's just it just fills the full screen now, so it would be much harder to burst bait like how he used to do in other games, or how characters like Nago or Happy Chaos or Ram do in this game. So overall, this is definitely a nerf to him from the last game, but it's probably good because those burst bait the characters that were super good at burst baiting were always very it's a Guilty Gear staple, I guess, but they're always very strong, and it's not fun to fight against it. For game balancing, it's not exactly healthy, I would say. The other thing I want to mention is how Red RC versus PRC is going to work on this. Like, are you going... I mean, this is just speculation at this point, because we don't know yet. But in the past games, basically in Exerd, you could Red RC, the slash strike, and then do, you usually wouldn't need to do that because he usually doesn't use RC for much of anything except for unblockable setups. But, we will see how Red RC is going to affect the slash, and whether it's going to be worth doing, to combo off or to extend combos. And we will also have to see when does the Red RC timing stop and when does the PRC timing start. He's been hit by now. What is the frame? The frame that he got hit with was, let's see. It's paused, which is why it doesn't look okay. There we go. So this is the first frame he's been hit, and then it evens out. So is this this is literally one frame. It starts coming out, he's hit one frame, and then he's flying backwards. So is this is this the part that you could Red RC it, and then from here now it's a PRC? We're gonna have to test that. And I think that understanding how Mistfinder works, because again, I don't think it's going to be that simple. I think we're going to have to do a bunch of testing, but I think understanding how Mistfinder works is going to be very important for this character and for learning about how to play this character later on. So next, he should go into, yes, okay, so this is holding Mistfinder, this is Misstance, my favorite part about the character. We knew it was coming back, but this is just like it was in Exerd. It's just Misstance. You can cancel it with H, and you can cancel it with D for some reason. If you want to be weird and do that, go ahead, but just be normal and cancel it with H like the rest of us. The next thing is them showing a miscancels combo. So in this one, he does. It seems like his main combo star is going to be close /2H, which is fine. So here he miscancels the 2H into 5k and then 6k, and then like I said, you can special cancel 6k now, and so you do Misfinder. Now the interesting thing about this combo is, let me get the frame perfect. So yeah, so he goes into miscancel immediately, and then he is back to neutral here. I'm pretty sure this is neutral stance here. There is a chance that this is fast enough for him to do a miss dash. Now, miss dash is not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. That was one of the things I warned about is, miss dash is going to be hard to deal with because he can't act out of it until like pretty late in the dash. They seem to have made that faster, so he can act out of it faster, which is, it's fine. I think it's still going to be difficult for people who have not played the character before. And the people I saw at Versus Fighting playing Johnny, I did see them try and like double dash up and get thrown for it because you can't do anything during halfway through the dash. And so I think it is going to trip people up for a while. And I think it's going to be funny seeing people who haven't played the character have to deal with that. But for people who have dealt with this dash for years, and for people who have gotten used to it, this is going to be 10 times better. This is going to be like, obviously, if they had kept it the same, the people who have been playing this character for years would have been fine. But making it even easier, that makes it extra fun. They're not going to have any issues. But new players are probably still going to struggle a little bit with it. But my point is can you miss dash here? Especially because now you've got the input, the dash macro, to just dash in. So you can just frame one as soon as possible, dash in. So there's like much less room for error, and things can be a lot more fast and a lot more frame perfect. I was watching Versus Fighter and watching people use the dash macro to dash across the screen. It was stupidly quick. It was weirdly fast. So can he dash here? Miss dash here? Cancel it? And you'll see later that cancels are automatic, which we'll talk about. But, can you sit here, cancel it, and then go for close slash again? Maybe, and that would be sick. But we'll have to see. We'll have to do a lot of testing. The main thing is, I don't think that 5k 6k is the optimal combo here. I don't think it's the only combo here. I think there is a ton of shit they're gonna be able to do off of this combo, off of this starter. And I think it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be his main starter. And there's so much we can do off of it. Also, at Versus Fighting, it was confirmed, which is one of the questions I asked in the trailer, you could cancel the first hit. So the first hit staggers, and the second hit, throws them up. So you can cancel the first hit either into Mistfinder or special, or like any other special, or you can even miscancel it. So maybe if it like counter hits, if it counter hits, it might like do the full stagger, and then maybe you can miscancel it and then go into like whatever other combo. The point is that being able to cancel it halfway through is going to be massive. Like this is gonna be a big deal, and there's gonna be lots of possibilities we can do this combo, and I'm very excited to try them all out. This is Mist Walk. Mist Walk is much faster in this game. In the previous games, if you tried to walk with Mistfinder, he was like tiptoeing back and forth. It was so slow. But I think the reason they did that is because they changed Misstep. Misstep automatically takes him out of Misstance now, which is interesting because in the previous games he could just teleport around the screen, and it was super good for applying pressure because Johnny just existing in Mistfinder stance is pressure because you don't know which Mistfinder he has on. You don't know when he's gonna let it fly. You don't know if he's gonna cancel it and do something else. Like, there is a lot of unknowns when he is in mist stance, and especially in the previous games, you couldn't really contest with Mistfinder. So you had to you had to respect it, even though he is technically super open. Now, obviously, there's a lot of stuff in this game where, like, you can do Viking can do gun super at full screen, and if there might not be time for him to come out, come out of it. Obviously, characters like Happy Chaos or Axel might be able to zone him or whatever. But with more like rushdown centric characters or characters that don't have as good projectiles, like that's like it's gonna be scary for them, like it was in the previous games. And again, depending on how disjointed Mistfinder is, it might even be scary for the fucking zoners in the game. We'll just have to see. But the thing about Misstep now is that you can't do that dashing back and forth at long ranges to provide pressure, because it automatically takes you out of the stance. Now, of course, you can still dash and then do Mistfinder out of the stance. Like, that's fine. Excuse me, but you can't do. But like I said, you can't dash around all the time. So I think that's why they added like him actually walking at like maybe it looked like maybe back, like walking backward speed, just so you can still apply that pressure of walking back and forth in mist stance, maybe just not as powerful. And so I saw a lot of people calling this a nerf, and yeah, I definitely see that, but I think to an extent this is also a little bit of a buff, because being able to cancel mist finder automatically like that means that there is a lot less room for error when you go for mist dash combos. You go for mist dash combo, we go back to the close slash 2H combo. There's a lot less room for error of just doing Mistfinder stance and then dashing forward, as opposed to doing mist stance and then mist dash and then having to cancel with with heavy slash at the right time. So I think when it comes to combos and like possibility and just like ease of execution, I think it's going to be a big deal for combos, and I am very excited to see what's possible with it. So I can definitely see how it's more of a nerf than a buff, but I think there are good things that are going to come from this. I think the next thing they should go into, this is just them showing, well, that was them showing that you can still do Mistfinder out of the stance, which, like I said, is I'm glad they do that. It just doesn't cancel automatically. That would suck. This is the same. I think they're gonna show the same combo from before. Yeah, here it is. Same combo from before, and then they're gonna talk about Air Mistfinder. So Air Mistfinder is it's basically the same. It's the same as Exerd, where he can do mist dash, he can cancel it, and he can hold it in the air to like slowly fall, and it's also an overhead. But in the previous games, only the S version was an overhead. In this game now, every version is an overhead. I can see K being an overhead, being useful. I can see it being even more useful than S, depending on the character. Like if you're fighting against Potemkin or Nago, like that could be extremely powerful. But if you're fighting against like Faust or Geo, yeah, you're not hitting TK K Mistfinder. May as well just do the normal one at that point. And you'll see later, it's very fast. It is like an instant overhead, and I think it's going to be very beneficial for the character. He's had it, in Exerd for forever, and so I'm glad that they're bringing it back. And the other thing is that P is also an overhead. I don't know why. There's not really. I don't think you're ever gonna hit that, because I just whatever. Like I can't even think of a reason that would be good. I don't even think Potemkin standing would get hit by that, and if they did, they'd be standing already, and it wouldn't do anything because they would be stand blocking. So like, okay, Arxis, whatever, whatever you want, Arxis. Yes, this is showing that it's an overhead. All versions are an overhead. This is the stall thing that I was talking about, where you can just come back to the air. This goes more back into being able to pressure, with misfire from the air, which is good. That was a miscancel. It looked pretty quick, actually. Yeah, there we go. So it seems like we can probably still do some very funky, interesting air miscancel combos, which I'm very excited to try and figure out. Again, it's one of my favorite part about the character in Excerpt. And I think the next thing they show is the dash. Yep, there it is, misstep. And it does the same thing where it automatically takes you out. So I'm sure that's gonna have. I mean, obviously it's gonna be good for applying pressure. Obviously not as good because you can't just dash a bunch. But even in the previous games, you could only dash once in the air. So this is gonna be basically about the same. But the one thing is that you could dash and you could stay in the stance, which you will no longer be able to do in this game. So technically pressure will be a little bit worse with it. And you don't have the same thing of being able to like walk, at like a reasonable speed on the ground to apply pressure, as you can in the air. So, it is it's a little bit worse, but still being able to jump and then hold miss stance and like fly down with like a normal is he holding K misfire or S misfire, and having to hold that, and having to respect that. I think it's still gonna be powerful. It's still gonna be good. And it says miscancel, misdash back. Yeah, okay, that's the instant overhead. It's stupidly quick, and and then he gets a full combo off of it, which is sick, So he still has his overhead. It's been a staple in Exert for a while. He's very well known for it, and I'm glad they brought it back in this game. Now it seems that in order to confirm, you're going to need meter. Maybe on counter hit you won't need meter, because it'll pop them up in the air, and then you actually might be able to go for some kind of an air combo. But for the most part, you're going to need meter to confirm with this, probably like it was Anson. Now the combo that he does is close slash, and again, close slash hits kind of low. Like he's pretty low there, and it hit, and it bounced him back up. So again, in that close slash 2H miscancel combo, the idea that you can dash in and then close slash, he's still pretty low. Excuse me, like it still seems possible. The whole thing still seems possible. The other thing you'll see is how fast his dash. Yeah, his dash is much faster. Well, I mean, he can act out of his dash much faster. Again, he still has to wait a little bit. You can't act during the dash, but it does look faster than it does in previous games, which is a buff, and it's going to help new players. So the combo he does, he actually looks like he jump cancels from close slash quite quickly, which not every character can do. When it comes to a character like Biken, she can jump cancel her close slash, but for air combos, you're basically going to want to use 5k just because it's so much faster. But his close slash seems to be able to jump cancel extremely quickly, which he does. He goes into JD, which is, which is one of his main air moves, and which I do want to talk about because I've got bad news about it. And then he does misfire. So, so I am kind of surprised that they allowed him to jump cancel close slash like that so quickly. But I'm down for it. I mean, I think there will probably be some situations where 5k is still going to be faster, because this is Strive. But being able to know that for damaging combos, being able to use close slash, which is not scaled very much in this game, is big. That's good. So turn up. So this is the guard crush mechanic on block and the slash on hit for this character. It's it's his replacement for like level up coins. It seems that depending on where the card is, it slashes at a different point. So I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to tell from the video, but I think that there's going to be a lot of like weird card finagling that's going to go on, and there might be a lot of like very specific combos depending on what the card, where the card, hits. Because as you can see, when he throws the card, he slashes it, breaks the card in half, and then where the card breaks is where the second slash happens. No, sorry, not where the card breaks. Where the broken card ends up is where the second slash happens. So I don't know how that's gonna work, because as you'll see later when they talk about throwing card move, which is called deal, it's the card throws can be random, which is very interesting. I mean, I assume it's random. They don't say anything about it, about being able to change the trajectory. But you'll see him do the same card, because you can throw them at different distances. And one card, I mean, again, you'll see it later, but one card goes at one distance, the other card goes at like higher in the air. So having card RNG is odd. I don't think I like that much, because it's not consistent, and consistency matters in combos. But yeah, card just seems like it's gonna be weird, because again, it just doesn't seem consistent. It seems like being able to do combos with it is it's just gonna be weird. I don't know. We're gonna have to see. Let's see. This is a different move we're going to talk about later. Slash again, where the second slash hit is where the card ended up. There it is in slash, and this time it slashed at this angle, at a diagonal angle instead of a like up angle. So my guess is that which way it slashes depends on where the opponent is and where the card is. So it's not always going to be a set way. My question is, can you maybe like throw cards behind the opponent and then do Mistfinder and have the slash come back, basically push the opponent back to you so you can do more so you can continue a combo. From what I saw at Versus Fighting, that doesn't seem possible, but we'll see. If you can do that, that'd be sick, but we will have to see. I just think that it's too programmed to pop up and away, and so I just don't think it might be possible to get him come back to you, but we will see. Yeah, okay, so again, another thing about where you throw the card and which misfire you use, depending on which misfire, changes how the card slashes. So in this case, he does Mistfinder, it slashes the card, and I think it's the bottom part of the card that hits him. Yeah, right here. The bottom part of the card is what hits him. So it must be whichever part of the card is closer to the opponent must be the slash that does. But again, it still pops up. So like, sorry, it still pops up. I guess in this case it makes sense, because it was like literally inside of him, but it didn't go backward nearly as much as the other ones have. So maybe there is some like hope to being able to push them back into you with Misfind, which would be sick again. But again, it's gonna be, we're gonna have to keep in mind how the card breaks, and who knows, maybe slashing the card is also RNG, and they're not always guaranteed to go the same way, which would be really weird. Again, I would not, hard RNG would not be cool, but we will have to see how this is going to work. Maybe there's a part of the card that always goes into the other person. I think I'm going to definitely be doing a lot of like testing, throwing the same card multiple times and seeing how the slash works. But again, I mean, we could speculate about this all we want, but we have to, we're gonna have to have our actual like hands on them in order to see what happens. And there you go. Again, another example of, you know, card slashing at a different angle. So he throws up, does air, missed cancel. That part of the card is what slashed. The part that's closer to him. I think, see, like, it glows, like the part that's closer to him, and then that's gonna do the second slash glows blue. But the slash happens over here. Maybe that's more about I don't know. I can speculate as much as I want, but I don't get it. Maybe no, but like, was it inside of him, or was it in front of him, or no? Because it was like, well, I guess maybe they did the slash over here as opposed to going this way to prevent him bouncing back into you, which I don't know. It seems like they don't want the card. They don't want him to bounce back into you. They want the opponent to bounce up or away or up and away. So we'll see. Again, I can speculate all I want, but I'm gonna have to actually sit down and do some like RNG testing. There we go. So this is the guard crush. Again, there's a clip that is I want to talk about at the end of the video, but there may be some problems with this. Guard crush is already a very potent mechanic in this game, and him being able to get free guard crush like that is going to be might be kind of scary, especially with his range, where he can just keep doing it over and over again at a safe range. I think next I talk about deal. Okay, yeah, deal. So this is how he gets the cards out. So P throws it close range, K throws it at mid range, and S throws it at long range. How the card? So here, this is P. I'm pretty sure this is P. The card seems to follow. Yeah, the card follows the same track down. So that was like the exact same. Yeah. So the card follows the exact same track down. So it will probably still depend where the slash happens, depending on how close the card is to the ground. I'm guessing it changes depending on, you know, where it is in proportion to the other the opponent's body. But in this case, it doesn't seem like, you know, it's going to be floating down like this way and then that way and then, you know, all whatever. So there seems to at least be some consistency with the cards, which is good. But as we'll see in this clip, this is S card, or sorry, K card, which is in the middle. So that one goes like mid-range. He throws it mid-range, it comes down basically in the same animation that P card did, but then he throws it again. Oh, sorry, that's S card. Again, same animation. Then he throws K again, and it goes high. They don't say anything about being able to throw it differently. It just, card just randomly goes high, and it floats down with like the same animation. Maybe you can direct it, which would be super sick. You know, it'd be cool if you could direct it. Or maybe there's card RNG, which would suck. Because, you know, might mess up some very specific combos. We'll have to see, but it's a little bit troubling. I'm super hoping that you can just angle it like up or down, maybe. But we will see. Again, we're gonna have to test this because they don't measure it at all. So we're gonna have to see. Yeah, basically this is just the same thing as when they explained how the mechanic worked. I think they're basically showing the same clips. So this is deal midair. This is his only way to throw a card midair, and the only way to do it with heavy slash. So this move actually looks like it's going to be super sick. And the reason why is it hits. All the other cards are not actual hit moves. This is a hit move. And not only that, it hits twice. It hits once with like him throwing the card, and then it hits a second time as like the actual card. And it doesn't pop up a huge amount, but because it's an air move like this, you can TK it. And so I think this move, obviously for pressuring in the air, you know, with card on the ground, it's gonna be very good. But I think it might be pretty good for some combos. Now obviously in the air, it's going to shove them down, but you know, so maybe it might be counterintuitive to like push them down to the ground. But there's a chance that we can find some combos in this where, you know, you start a combo and then you TK midair deal, and then you have a free Mistfinder to use, which would be sick. Again, we're gonna have to test it, but that's my idea. I hope that, because it's very exciting. You know, this is him like dancing around and throwing it. You know, like you said, use it. You know, and this is a super basic combo you can use it in. Like, sure, if you want, I guess. Again, I think there's better things to do. So Vault. This is Y from the previous from Exert. I don't know why they changed the name. I'm just gonna keep calling it Y because that's what it is. This is, if you call it Vault, I will look at you weirdly. The cool thing about this is you can do card out of it. So kind of like how Y, kind of like was Y in the previous games, where, or like an Exert, where you could do it, and you know you have the second hit. This one you can do card, so you can, again, card is an actual hit. So if spaced right, excuse me, you might be able to make it safe on block. It depends on how, because they don't show us blocking card at all. Oh God, excuse me, Jesus. They don't show him blocking card at all, so we don't know how minus it is, but there's a chance that if spaced right, this could make Vault safe, which would be super good. As they show in the next clip, they show Vault being used as a strike throw. And again, this is his throw. If you see, it's pretty slow. He might be able to OTG off of it with like 2S, but there's no way he can combo off of it. Again, the thing you probably want to use is just a set card, like I said before. But anyways, back to Vault. You can use it as a strike throw. You know, you don't have to throw the card, which is good. Some people were saying like, oh, you're gonna have to throw the card, whatever. You know, thank goodness you don't have to do that. So I think as a neutral skip tool and as a way to get close in and still be safe, this is going to be very powerful. It also he like Vault. Oh God, I called it Vault. I'm cringe. It also happens at like a weird angle, you know, because it's like it's a circle. You know, he does like a half circle as opposed to like a, you know, straight line. So that's gonna be a little bit harder to anti-air, because, you know, moves that are less linear like that are just intuitively harder to anti-air. And also, again, being able to throw the card like that does make it might make it safe. The next thing they show us is using it in a combo. Oh no, okay, never mind. I went too far back. This is him throwing again. So the next thing they show us is using a combo. So close slash, 2H, Vault, and then he can continue the Vault combo because he did the card. I think you could do close slash there. It definitely looks like you could do close slash there. He recovers from this move, it looks like, very quickly. Especially with how fast he did that. But here he just goes for a simple combo. And card does not... It's interesting, card does not throw them up nearly as much as it does. Maybe because it's so close to the ground. I don't know. But there we go. I keep calling it Vault. Goodness gracious. I guess I've become what I hated. But I'm gonna do my best to call it Y. Okay, but anyways, that's not the point. I think that move is gonna be super good. I think how fast it recovers is stupid. I think it having a second hit is stupid, and I think it being able to use it like in a combo like that is stupid, and I am very excited to use it. And I think it's gonna be one of his main big combo tools, which makes me question why we use this move, which is Insango, which I think they want to be a combo tool. Because I just like, why else does it exist? It's not an overhead. You can't do it in the air. You can't TK it. Use it as a corner combo, I guess. I don't know. The thing they do say to use it for, I mean, you know, it's like it's an okay combo tool because it bumps them up so high, but it also bumps them up super far. So I think like this is probably, maybe you can do Insango loops in the corner, which would be interesting. But it seems that if you're going to use it in a combo, uh, it would probably be in the corner just because it bumps them up too far. And if you're at mid screen at that point, just do Y. So the thing they do show us though, which does seem to be the interesting to use it for, is it is safe on block because it pushes it back so far, which is good. So that seems to be what they want you to use it for, is to make combos, or like that seems to be maybe not what they want you to use it for, but the best application for it, which would be doing, which would be making block strings safe that would otherwise not be. Again, you could also just do miscancel if you wanted, but the other thing they say you can use it for is to bait throws. So sure, why not? Here he does. This is interesting. This is another thing that I think is going to be important for the character. A little off topic. This another thing that I think is going to be important for the character is dash cancels, which I think is what that is. Being able to dash cancel 5k and close slash, I think is going to be very good for this character. It's also like, it's just his normal dash. The other thing I want to say that I called it, like I said, Nago close slash, which is what I called it in the trailer video. But I think doing dash cancels and doing especially Kara dash cancels is going to be super important for this character. And I think that we are going to have to try that out and see what happens. Because again, with his dash being very linear, being able to do specials through a dash, I think it's going to be quite good for this character. And so we're going to have to test that out. But again, I think that's just a dash cancel. And he does 6H and goes from there. So now he does That's My Name. So this is a reversal super. It's super cool. It's a super cool super. He like flips the sword around and then it goes back in the sheath. The one thing about it is that it is kind of short range. Like that made it look larger than it is, but it is deceptively short range. I saw people at Versus Fighters try and use this as like an everything of reversal, and it is not that. It is quite short. So you're gonna have to, obviously it's a reversal. It's a good reversal, but you're gonna have to be careful about using it. The other thing is Joker Trick. Now, this looks like probably his best super, but this is also where I get a little bit confused, which is it doesn't give him anything except for a way to do a super like at long range, because he throws the card and it connects, and as you'll see, it goes through like other projectiles. It's like a higher class projectile, and you can use it for finishing combos at long range, and you can use it for calling people out, who maybe Axel does, he starts up Sickle Flash or whatever. Maybe Jacko like has a minion out, or Happy Chaos is in gun mode, and basically you can use it like how you use Biken's gun super. But it doesn't do anything beyond that. It's just another damage super. I thought it would be a utility super. I thought it would give him cards back, like Treasure Hunt does in Exert, mostly because Treasure Hunt items were leaked in the files, and as you can see, he doesn't have a set amount of cards, so I guess they just scrapped that idea, which okay, fine, but also I kind of would have liked to have seen what that could have been, and I hope one day that they reveal that. And there's a chance that they bring it back, because again, I keep alluding to this, but as I'm going to show later, I think cards can be a problem, and him just being able to throw an unlimited amount of cards might become a fucking issue. And so there may be a point at some point where he gets a set amount of cards, and then all I'm saying, Arxis, is you just make Joker Trick, give him cards back. Okay, that's all I'm saying. And then he's in the and also I think it's a little. I don't like him having unlimited cards, mostly just because that, again, I think it could be broken, but it also just, maybe in practice it wasn't that bad to manage your coins in Exerd, but you still had to manage them. You still had to decide, like, okay, when do I want to include coin in a combo? When do I want to use coin as a, way to make myself positive? When do I want to use coin as a way to apply pressure so I can dash in. You don't have any of that in this game because you just have an unlimited amount of cards. So I hope they maybe reconsider that, because I think it adds a level of depth to the character that we don't see right now. It obviously doesn't kill my enjoyment for the character. I still think this is great. I still am super excited, but you know, maybe down the line they'll change that. And again, because I think cards might be stupidly good, that would also be a good reason to change it. So this is basically the last move that they show. And now we should be going into, like I said, it goes through projectiles. It's a higher range projectile. Now we should be going to the final clips. So this is a clip with Milia. Throws card. It's pretty fast. You know, he throws card and then recovers relatively quickly to do far slash, which again looks very. I don't know if I said this at all, but far slash looks very, very good in this game. Close slash 6H into Joker's trick. So Joker trick does wall break. I don't know why it didn't wall break in this situation, but I know for a fact that it does wall break. So again, to wall break, you're probably going to want to use the reversal just because you're going to do more damage. But as a, you know, but as being able to wall break from like half screen, also off of like a large combo, is going to be very good. So being able to do that with Joker trick is very good. The other interesting thing about this clip is, let's see, when he does it, he throws card and it does damage to the wall. I don't know why that happens. I think that's an interesting thing. I think that's an odd thing to include, but we're gonna have to see how it affects gameplay. You know, can you spam cards to break the wall? I guess so. I don't know. Like I said, we're gonna have to see how that works. But you know, it's, yeah, cards do damage to the wall. Sure, okay. Here he goes for close slash. Again, like I said, you can cancel close slash with a jump very quickly. And he goes for an overhead. I don't think that here he does JH. I don't think I think in cases like this, you should probably be using JK in this game. Like you know, because in this game when he does JH, he does like a spin move. You know, goes in, jumps, does a spin. In the other games, JH would have been out by now. But in this game, he does a spin, and then, you know, JH comes out. So I think they really wanted to nerf JH in this game, which is fine, because like I was saying in the trailer, it is just, you know, in other games, it's just a big hitbox covering basically everything for him, and it was stupidly broken. So them changing it makes sense, and it probably is going to be, you probably still can use it for pressure, but if you're going to want to do safe pressure now, you probably have to do JK, which I think is better. So yeah, this is just, so part of ways I used to I like to apply pressure in Exerd is by doing jump cancels like this and then pressuring from the air, and it's always been something that he does. And card seems kind of hard to react to. You know, I was saying in the trailer that people, you know, that was a trailer only moment, letting him get away with card. But the more I look at it, like, card seems to be kind of hard to react to, like, pretty fast. Like, maybe if she was waiting for it, she could have done like 2K 2D there, but it seems quite, you know, it seems like you can get it out there pretty fast. It seems to be like maybe under like a high pressure situation, it might be unreactable. Okay, so that's you know, that clip. Next thing, this is where the thing with card comes in. Senga throws a card, does it low, it beats out Clone, which is funny. Goes under. Okay, so here he does close slash, 2S. I think these are some of the combos you're gonna want to do. You know, probably 2H would have been better here, but at a range, 2S is fine. And he does 5H into Mistfinder. And then he throws a card again. Purchase from the air again. I would have used JK there. Breaks the card. Immediately throws another one. At full speed, this is what this looks like. Throws card. Mistfinder. Immediately throws the other one while he is still recovering from Guard Crush. That is going to be an issue. I promise you, looping cards like that is going to be an issue. Throw card, guard crush, throw card, guard crush. It is going to be an issue. I will promise you, this is going to be an issue. I mean, I'm gonna have to test it in the quarter, but I think this is going to be stupid. Maybe there are some things he can do instead, but as of right now, like the opponent can do, but as of right now, this looks bad. This looks bad, and so this is why I would suggest, if this is as bad as I think it's going to be, this is why I would suggest maybe giving him a set amount of cards so he can't just do this, forever. Basically, I think this is the last thing they show here is him doing a vault combo. Yeah. And then he breaks the wall, so that's fine. So I don't remember how much is interesting about this clip. I remember there is one thing that's interesting. 6K. Okay, yeah, there we go. So 6K seemed safe. So there was a time in Exerd when 6K was plus, actually, which is kind of ridiculous. They eventually nerfed it, but it's still... There are times in Exerd where if you do it correctly, it can still be his turn. Like, you can still... It's technically not his turn, but you can frame trap with it pretty effectively. And so being able to do 6K and then continue your pressure is, like, it's like a thing in Exerd. And it seems to be that in this game, it's relatively similar, where it just seems to be... You might not be able to, like, continue your pressure like you could at Exerd, but... Excuse me. It at least doesn't seem to be negative on block, so you can at least use it as like a pressure tool if you want to in neutral, and then return to neutral without much of a problem. So again, we're gonna have to see how that plays out in the actual game. I mean, like, I don't know, because Mei is like standing here, like she can obviously do something, so maybe it is negative, and she could just maybe it was like Mega Fist where it was punishable, but like if it's done to the right range, the only thing you could punish it with would be like 2k 2d. It might be that thing, but he also might be able to block here. I don't know. Again, we're just gonna have to see. I mean, he dashes back like pretty immediately, so that does, yeah, that does make me think it's pretty safe. Any last thing? Oh yeah, again, like I'm saying before, using JH as a way to get in, not worth it. You're gonna have to start using JK. Because JH is not... It's too slow now. Any last thing? Nope, that's it. Alright. So, I am quite excited for this character. I wish I could have gotten this out a little bit earlier. But at the same time, I think it was also much less of a clusterfuck with all the information that I have now. And like all the times that I've watched it over and over again. So, very excited for this character. I think there could be some problems with card, and I would not mind if they change some things, but we will see. We will see how it plays out. I am going to basically spend all of tomorrow fucking around with him, and I'm probably going to spend basically all of tomorrow either playing with my friend who's also off of work, or in training mode. I mean, I'll play online if I can, but I'm going to be basically labbing for a while, because I want to see what he can do. And this is a character I really care about, so I'm going to really spend some time. Beyond that, super excited. I hope card is not as broken as I think it's going to be. I hope it's not RNG, but we will see. And we'll see. I have no clue what I'm going to do next, what kind of video I'm going to put out next, but I can promise that whatever it is probably going to have to do more with Johnny.